Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Financial Freedom. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Jim McKissack.
Hey, Jim, looks like you've got your Build Wealth, Change
Absolutely.
Lives,
I'm ready.
Create a
Ready.
Legacy. And I've got my mug that says Build Wealth, Create Lives, Leave a Legacy.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it. Awesome. So we are husband and wife couple who ordinary people. I will always say we're average. We were average people. We are still average people who just decided we want an extraordinary life. And so hopefully the people listening to us are some of those same people. They're just ordinary people who wake up and say, you know what? I want to create an extraordinary life, and I want to do it through multiplying my time, my money, and my relationships. And so, Jim, what you and I talk a lot about is how to multiply. And, again, if you've gone back and listened to our very first episode, you'll know our story of, having something terrible but wonderful happen to us early in our career so that we could realize that you needed to put money to work for you, or you could have these
lots of
situations
lessons learned then.
Yeah, lots of lessons. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about, we've got a current market that's kind of different in all the markets we've ever seen in investing. So let's kind of talk a little bit about what do you see out there in the marketplace? You and I were having a conversation yesterday. And so what do you see going on, and what advice would you give people that want to be investors and maybe they even haven't started yet, or they've started a little bit, but now they're kind of freaking out thinking, what do I do now?
Well, we've seen this. We started investing in the early 90s, and we've seen the 90s, we've seen the 2000s, and we're seeing the current market now as it is. And this market here is, we have a systemic issue all across the nation right now. We have a very large shortage of inventory. And so
Which is
it's
unusual in a down market usually.
Usually in a down market, that's when listings are abundant and it's harder to sell properties and things like that. But in this market, it's not happening that way. In the markets in the 90s and stuff, and in 2008, we saw a 30-40% drop in the market. And we're not seeing that this time. Prices are still staying very tight. There's a few markets across the country, Las Vegas, some Arizona properties and stuff and in California. And that's due to some of the local politics and different things out there. But we're seeing some price drops, but they're nothing dramatic.
Right.
We're seeing 5%, maybe 10% in the max in some of the higher areas like Las Vegas. But it's just not, it's not happening around most of the areas. And because of the inventory problem we have right now across the country, it's artificially keeping the prices up. Normally in a normal market, I think we would have seen these prices already drop 20%. When the interest rates hit 7%, I think we would see a huge drop. And we're also seeing people right now in the residential market, they're staying put. They're not actually, whenever the interest rates were 3.5% and 4% and 4.5%, people made decisions to sell because they wanted to. Now people aren't moving unless they have to. And so what that does for the real estate agents out there, it kind of puts them in a situation to where they've got to go out there and they've got to learn to be hunters instead of order takers. And what I mean by that is they've got to go out and find the properties. Now, for the investors, it means that they have to really go out there, and it's going to take them some time to hunt and to find properties that fit their criteria. Because remember, the investors aren't buying on emotion. They're out there, like a normal retail buyer does. An investor is buying based on economics, the numbers, and they have to be, giving them a fair return on their money.
Yeah. And the thing we've always said, though, is there's always life changes. People will absolutely move. The only people moving right now are life changes. They have a baby. They need a bigger house. They're going into a retirement home. Someone died in the family. They've got distress or drugs or death or some of those, what we call the D's, going on in their life. And so you have to really, like you said, be really more of a hunter to be an investor right now, and put a lot of feelers out there and look for those few opportunities that are life changes in people's lives.
In the book Whole, we talk about building our network, our network of people and stuff to help us with our investing and stuff. And so you got to spread that net wide in this market to go out there and find the good deals. And remember, whenever you're getting started at this, the most important buy that you ever make is that first one.
Yeah. And the hardest.
Yeah. And that first one needs to be a good deal. You need to go find the right property, and it needs to be a good deal. And so it takes time and it takes effort and it takes planning to go out there and do that. And you have to be prepared on the other side of that. I mean, with the banks, you got to have your money in place. You've got to be ready to really pull the trigger fast.
Yeah.
And so you can't.
Well, one of the things, talk about this, because you said this yesterday. I think another problem that people have is they think the prices are too high. And in some areas, those prices probably are still not at the highest they will be.
Yeah.
And so I think it's Warren Buffett says, when everybody else is afraid, you have courage. And so we've done that a lot, where we paid attention where everybody else wasn't buying and we went ahead and bought. So you talk about, you heard that the average home price across
the average home price across the United States right now has risen to over 500,000. I think it was 514,000 is the number that I heard yesterday. And so what that really means, do you remember, Linda, we bought in this market in the 90s.
Yeah.
Our interest rates on all of our investment properties when we were buying in that stage were between 6 and 9%.
Right.
And so we were buying in this exact market. Now, we were buying homes, the average sales price at that time was about 280,000, 270,000 across the country. And so, we were buying homes that were under $100,000. We were buying all of them that we could find at that. And so when you look at the price points, and there's a trick to this a little bit, you can always go to where the builders are building and look and see what their starter price is on their starter homes.
Yeah.
And that means the builders that are building volume homes in the average markets, not the Toll Brothers that are building the $1 million plus houses and stuff. But the average home builder out there, Lennar and some of those other people, go out there and look, what is their starter homes and stuff. That's the base price you need to be looking at and stay below.
Below, yeah.
Yeah.
Stay below.
And so if you can stay right in that area and buy properties in that area, I think you're going to be in very, very good shape down the road.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean buy the home from the builder, but find homes that are that
price
resale homes. Resale homes that are that price or below. Yeah, that's a really good point. And the other thing that we're noticing too is Middle America. I mean, if you got relatives up in Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, Indiana, and we've got great realtors in our organization up there. But really, that's where everybody should be buying, because manufacturing's moving back up there. You've got home prices still, their average is probably lower than that 500 and something that you just mentioned. So there's lots of different ways. You just got to be ready to pivot. And I think if you've got, and especially if you've bought before, I think the people that have never bought, they don't know what to expect, right? They don't have a clue. But if you've bought before, what happens is you tend to want to put on the brakes and not do anything and keep waiting for that better market that may never come.
Yeah. We thought this market was normal when we started in investing and stuff. And of course, the prices were a lot less, but the rents were a lot less too.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
so the rents are escalating, and they're moving up, and they're moving up all across the country.
Yeah.
And so you're right. I think hitting that Mid-America area and stuff, that's a great area to go in there and to buy in. Our markets around the Texas area here, I mean, probably the highest markets in the country for investing is really Texas, Florida, Colorado. Those states right now, they're getting such of an influx of population and stuff that it's really artificially pushed those prices up too.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's always D's in every state: drugs, death, divorce, I can't remember what our other D was, but you know what I'm talking about. And so you're always looking for those in every state. But I do think even Oklahoma, it wouldn't be bad. Just go
even Oklahoma's prices have really shot up.
Yeah.
They've gone high up in that state also.
Yeah. So I think the point we want to make here is, yes, it has changed. The prices are higher, but there's never a bad time to invest in real estate. You have to pivot, and you have to be willing to maybe put more money down. It's still a great place for your money. It's still a great opportunity to have somebody else paying off your mortgage, and in the hopes, and even have the benefit of a bonus of appreciation, even though you think there may not be room for appreciation, still probably will. So I think just understanding what's going on currently in the market. And you talked a little bit about, and we'll make this last point as we wrap up, but you talked about, spreading your network wide. I'll give a shout out to my girls at the Vita 10. They all figured out that we do real estate investing. And so I'm getting all these great questions, which I love, by the way, love to help other people do what we've done. But here, along with that question comes, hey, we've got this opportunity. Do you want to invest in it with us? So putting your network out there in every market is super important. If you're the only person that knows you're looking to invest, that is not going to do you any good. You got to tell everybody you know. I mean, I think about you and I, even the gym I worked at one time. This guy was even in the real estate business at one time, but his grandmother, his aunt, died and they needed to sell her house. And he immediately came to us and said, I know you are investors and we want to sell to an investor.
Yeah.
So I just think you can't,
You never know where the deals are going to come
you
from.
never know where the deal's going to come from. Absolutely. So don't give up on this market. It's still a great time to buy. You got to pivot a little bit. Maybe look for vacant lots, see what you can move something on it, build something on it. I mean, there's just, you've got to just think outside the box, but there's still always opportunity, and there's still ways that you can figure out to invest in real estate, even in what feels like the hottest market ever.
Yeah. And this market, I think we're going to see some improvement over the next year or two. And, I think you just got to prepare yourself and be ready. And like you said, spread that network wide as you can spread it. Let everybody know you're an investor, and go find you a property.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. That's the update on the current market. We are, again, just ordinary people who decided we wanted an extraordinary life and figured out that the way to do that was multiply our time, our money, and relationships. And so in real estate investing is one of our favorite ways to do that. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. Hit the subscribe button. And anybody that you think that is just an ordinary person that wants an extraordinary life, pass this podcast along to them. We'd love to have you as listeners. And the greatest compliment you can give us is a great review, because a great review helps other people find this podcast also. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Jim McKissack.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.